Welcome to the American Grown Podcast, hosted by Austin Sullivan. The American Grown Podcast will focus on people from different walks of life and their journey to where they are now. Now, turn up your volume and settle in for a great episode.
Hi, I'm Austin Sullivan, and I'm your host for the American Grown Podcast, recorded inside the Colortech Creative Solutions studios. Today, we have Noah Starry, co-owner and operator of Ask4Noah and Starr War Properties, a real estate entrepreneur born and raised in Lebanon City. He creates value for his community by taking worn-down houses and making them modern homes. Noah, welcome to episode 8 of the American Grown Podcast.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Perfect. Hey, for our listeners out there, I saw online you're a bit of a bourbon drinker, which I am myself. So for the first time in the studio, we're sipping on some Proper 12 and some Bullet. Cheers.
Yeah, man. Cheers, bud.
Now, do you have a favorite bourbon or favorite drink?
I'm going to say you can't go wrong with a good old-fashioned. There's a place in Hummelstown. It's called Guillotines. It's a cigar lounge.
Oh, nice.
Yvonne, who is I think he's part owner, but he's the owner's son. Shout out to Yvonne.
Yeah.
Greatest old-fashioned I've ever had in my life. Because it definitely is how in the process, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Jefferson's, like I told you, Jefferson's bourbon is probably my favorite by far. And then Ocean, they're aged at sea bourbon.
Yeah.
Dude, that was
just hits different.
It's smooth. Like, you know, there's some bourbons out there that you get that little kick to it and stuff like that. This is smooth. It's cool, you know, because you know how it gives you a little like numbness and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
it's cool. It's smooth. It's refreshing. Like, it is just phenomenal compared to, like, I've had some higher end bourbons, and this just tops it. You know, tops it off, man.
Okay.
And, it's a decently affordable. Like, you'll get like a small bottle for like, I think it's $70.
Yeah.
Which again, like, to some people, you know, don't get me wrong, that's a little chunky, but it is so worth it. Especially, like, bourbon is an experience. Cigars are an experience. I think that's why I love it. You know what I mean? Because when I was younger, I was a riffraff. I was a partier. Like, I drank to get fucked up. As I got older and just, you know, like beer, I like IPAs. I enjoy the flavor of it.
Okay.
I don't enjoy being fucked up. Maybe
I don't know if anybody does.
I don't know, man. There's people
some
out there that
crazies
just
out
want to,
there.
like, you know what I mean, just get trashed. But don't get me wrong, I like that fine line of being, you know, not tipsy, but I'm cruising. You know, the whole idea behind bourbon and cigars is, like, you're supposed to enjoy the moment. You're supposed to savor the flavor, you know, things like that. And I'm a novice. Like I was saying to you earlier, like, I am no archive of this bourbon was, you know, blah, 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 or whatever, how people are with wine of, like,
There's a little snobbish.
There's some hazelnut and all this other bullshit in it. But I do appreciate, like, you know, there's many times where I sit down with a buddy or another investor and we're talking and I'm sipping on, because I drink bourbon straight on the rocks though, not neat.
Yeah.
Never neat.
No.
I'm not. That is like an old school myth. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of high end, like, if you follow guys on Instagram and stuff like that are like, you know, luxury whiskey and bourbon, they're all about, like, oh, the water, blah, 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 the ice, it's saturated. No, fuck that. Like, no, I ain't drinking bourbon warm as fuck. But overall, like I said, bourbon and cigars are about the experience. It's about what's happening in the moment.
Yeah.
Savoring it. You're not chugging it. And if you get, you know, feeling good,
nothing
fantastic.
wrong with that. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about bourbon and cigars.
I got you. My recommendation, I would say, for a bourbon, I like Old Foe or Old Forester, especially the Statesman bottle.
Okay.
Now, the Statesman ties in with the Kingsman, which I don't know if you saw the Kingsman, the movies.
Bro, I love...
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I love
Edgar
that
Terraton, I think it is. Yeah,
yes.
he's the main actor.
Yeah.
So that's actually what that nameplate is right there for the
Yes,
listeners.
I saw that, man.
We're in my office / American Grown Podcast
Eggsy
studio.
was his name.
Eggsy. That's it. Exactly. Yeah. So
My
that's
son,
my
by
go-to.
the way, loves Kingsman.
No way.
Love
Okay.
it. I will say out there, listeners, if you think I'm a bad parent and that movie's not proper for a kid, my whole thing is, like, I'm a movie guy.
Yeah.
And I just think like the acting, the plot, the comic relief, and then like the history. Mm-hmm. Like I think that's where I love movies that tie in real life history behind it. But
I'm with you. Yeah. So that's something I'd recommend. And it doesn't break the bank.
I'm gonna have to.
You have to.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, I'll have to write that down then.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I got to try, which I mentioned earlier, is the Pappy Van Winkle. Smooth as hell. I got a finger of it, just a little taste.
I was gonna say that is a renowned like in the bourbon realm.
Yeah.
Crazy story, right?
Okay.
The Louis Vuitton the King Louis III or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Like it's I think it's $6,000 a bottle.
Yeah.
At Guillotines, they have one, right? So I was out there. The owner of that is Italian. Mm-hmm. Yvonne's Italian, right? His dad is the owner. Dope ass guy, right? But they have that. And just if you can picture it, I'm a visual guy, so if you can picture it, it's a round bar, and they have all their alcohol at the top, and then behind that is a glass humidor with their cigars. Yeah. So it has that like cigar bourbon luxury feel, but that bottle right there, right? You know, you have rappers talking about it. You got, avid bourbon, like they invest, like, and this is another thing is like you can invest in bourbon, bro. Right. Like you can literally buy a bourbon bottle, right? Yeah. And it's supposed to appreciate, I think it's like 7% year over year. Yeah. Like it's an investment. I didn't know that, bro. Yeah. But anyways, he was telling me a story of like he's poured 3 shots since they bought it. Okay. And he's like, dude, every time I pour it, I'm shaking. Because he's like, one drop's $20. But I'm just like, and I just think stuff like that is crazy of like the different levels of life and where you're at and whatnot. Because don't get me wrong, I want to definitely have, I forget, it was like, I'm trying to think how much, I think it was like $600 a shot.
I believe it. I mean,
shot, not like, you got to think, when you get a glass, man, you're a good bartender and a good rapport with a bartender and you're getting bourbon, you're at 2 ounces, like easily, maybe even 3 to 4. Right. Because you know what I mean?
I would agree.
If you're not, whatever, it's an ounce. So you got to put that in perspective of like an ounce is roughly probably like a shot or, $600, what I mean? And again, like, I don't know that's just a number I remember them telling me what they charge.
You're right. I looked up, did some research, and $3,000 to $6,000 or more per bottle. That's just to get a bottle. And how I got it through my father-in-law, Johnny and Mikey. If you guys are listening, shout out to you guys. They hooked me up.
You've tried it?
I've tried it. Yes, no, only a finger though. Just a little sip. Yeah, man. I'm
just like the Pappy.
Yeah, the Pappy was so good. It was just a little bit, but shout out to those guys.
Everybody, like if you're into bourbon, I love how you say the finger, because like that is like when the measurements. Yeah, when you're taste testing or something on a higher level. Like for listeners to like understand, because again,
good point. Yeah,
bourbon. I'm an investor, and we'll get into that. Yep. Rolexes. That's another thing. Like there are avid investors that literally invest in Rolexes, bourbon, cigars, things that you don't typically. You think investment stocks, right? Maybe real estate.
Real estate, yeah.
But like, it's funny you use the finger because that is literally like how you test or flavor a very high-end, expensive, expensive, bourbon. And it's crazy. That's dope that you tried that, man.
Yeah, well, I got real lucky. Yeah, like I said, my father-in-law and his one good buddy that I got to know.
Well, whoever your father-in-law is and his buddy, that's where I want to be.
That's where you want to be. Right? I'll see what I could do. Yeah, see what I could do.
I want to be buying a bottle of that. You know what I mean? Like, right. That is... because it fits like what I want. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you got rappers who want that. What is that? That Ace of Spades or whatever. Yeah. That one.
I've seen it.
That bottle that has like the cross on it.
Or,
I don't know. All I know is it's like $10,000 a bottle.
No wonder. I haven't tasted it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But another good bourbon real quick. Yeah. Local, Hidden Still, shout out. So I can't think of his first name. Stein. His brother, Steven Stein. Shout out to Steve. Scuba Steve, my guy, is one of our foremans on our crew for our business. His brother is the one who founded Hidden Still.
Dave Stein? Yeah.
Dave. Yeah. And So shout out to Steve, my guy, for, you know what I mean, being
Yeah.
a phenomenal, tradesman. But because of that and them originating in Lebanon,
Yeah.
they're in Hershey now, but they
Right.
originally were founded in
Homegrown
Lebanon.
right here.
And one day I'm gonna tell Dave, like, I want you to make sure that you tell everyone that you were founded in Lebanon.
Lebanon County, right.
I'm thankful for where they were established, because when he left an old Reading foundry building, a new owner acquired it and fulfilled it in a good way. But my foreman did all the work. I don't know if you were at Hidden Still when they first were in Lebanon.
Beautiful. Nice bar.
Steve, my guy, did all that work. His brother.
Fantastic.
But shout out to
job.
Hidden Still. They're David E. I call Dave E. Double oaked bourbon. It's money. It is money. I will give them. They're definitely on like my top. I have a bottle at home. Like it is smooth. You know what I mean? And being a local spot, man. And I told you earlier, like, I'm all about being local.
Exactly. No,
so
I appreciate
if
that.
you're listening and you want to get into bourbon for a low cost and you want to support, small business, David E. Hidden Still is a phenomenal way to start, man. Their whiskey, the Stolen Wolf is good. And their David E. bourbon, I would recommend. It's a little more expensive, double oaked.
Yeah.
It's a little softer on the tongue, you know what I mean?
Right.
It is smoother, but it is delicious. So please check that out.
Shout out to Steiny at Hidden Stills, and hopefully one day
I've never actually met him
on
in
the
person.
podcast. No,
I would love.
We do some printing for him here at Colortech. We do a little bit of
like
printing.
I said, his brother is he's one of our, like, honestly, he is a crucial part to our crew. You know what I mean? And you can see the work he did, man.
Fantastic.
At Hidden Still, the original spot, not Hershey.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
I've never been to the Hershey one.
They actually did do work out in Hershey too.
Oh, I had to check it out
sometime.
sometime.
My construction manager.
Yeah.
So.
No, very cool. So Noah, to get back on track here,
Yep.
And get your story going.
ADHD.
Yeah, no, man, all good. Describe for the listeners what life was like growing up here in Lebanon City. What was it like?
So, growing up here, man, and you're a Lebanon guy. Yep. And I grew up off of 3rd Street by Good Samaritan Hospital, if anyone's familiar with Lebanon. Lebanon is all... People have to understand that, okay, Harrisburg, PA is our capital, right? Yeah. Hershey, PA is the sweetest place on earth. And then you have Philadelphia, right, of like Lebanon and Pittsburgh and whatnot. But out of central PA, you have Harrisburg. There's Lancaster, which has become like... we always call, from my perspective, is like the junior Philadelphia. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Especially in the past decade. You got York, things like that. Lebanon is 20 or 30 years behind all these areas. And you can agree to me that we're an old grown, dutchy ass place. Okay. So growing up, it was definitely Lebanon's considered urban, but we've always been a small town.
Yes.
Lebanon has rich history. If anybody's listening out there, of like, we have the Coleman's family where the daughter actually married the president of the United States. Yeah. I can't remember which president it is because I suck at that type of history.
I know my memory's awful.
We were actually, because of the Colemans, we were like the top 10 wealthiest city on the East Coast at one point back. And I'm talking like this is early on. You got to think Lebanon was established very early on. Yeah. So rich history, all these things, but, over the years with, Lebanon becoming a urban setting, and we've had a strong poverty spiel for, we had the steel mill. Lebanon was famous for the Lebanon steel mill. Yeah. Like Babe Ruth. Yeah. You're talking about a World Series, Hall of Famer. I'm a Red Sox fan, so it's salty in my book of like us getting rid of him and him winning for New York. Worked at the steel mill. My great uncle worked with him. Wow. The steel mill was the lifeblood during I would say from like the 40s to the 70s. I forget when they were established. They actually established a lot of the housing in Lebanon. So like if you're on, and this is for you directly, bud. Yeah. Off of like where the south side near Lincoln, a lot of those homes, like where Locust is on the east side of Lincoln, were actually built by the steel mill for their supervisors. Whoa. A lot of the blue collar workers lived on the north side. Okay. you know, and then the south side, if you're on High Street and Park Ave and all that other stuff,
yeah,
where they're really big, those are all like doctors and professionals. So the hierarchy of Lebanon was really established early on, and the steel mill really fed that, because if you look back at pictures in the 70s, like right there where Snyder Drive is and Lebanon Federal Credit, people out there, it's a local bank and stuff, where the steel mill buildings were, they developed all that land. You know what I mean? So like, you're talking like good paying jobs, you know, at the height of like blue collar America, and then it disappeared.
Right.
And there was nothing to sustain it. So growing up in Lebanon when I was younger, and in my, like our time frame and stuff like that, we had a development of low income. There was an influx of minorities, which, you know, nothing wrong with that. Just, you know, the data speaks of like with the minorities, they were in low income. And, you know, like I grew up with a lot of Hispanics, which I love. You know, I used to be able to speak a little bit of Spanish. I could understand. Like it was all, you know, that was like the Latin women.
Right.
You know, I love you, my honey bun and my woman, but I never dated a white woman.
Yeah.
You know, no disrespect to white women out there.
Yeah.
But
teach his own.
I grew up in the Hispanic culture in Lebanon, and growing up, that was really heavy on me. You know, where we're from, and
big
like
influence.
how Lebanon, big influence, large influence. So, with all that being said, like it's me and my brother. You know, we are the kids of Marina and Neil Starry, which is crazy. Both small business owners, both entrepreneurs.
Okay.
My dad was a drywaller, my mom a beautician. My dad actually owned his own drywall company, which honestly was like the go-to drywall company in the area. It was called Hawk and Trowel. Back then, the Hawk and the Trowel were the two tools that that was the only tools you used as a drywaller. Nowadays, it's a little different. You got these machines and stuff, all that stuff. But shout out to my pops. He was a hard worker. And that's where my mom's a hard worker, but my dad, he would wake up before the sun and go to bed after the sun. He would sometimes miss dinner and stuff like that. He was a
working man.
Like, I mean, and you know, sometimes there's fault to that and whatnot, but and then my mom was a beautician, and she helped run that business. Growing up, like when I was younger, you know, my brother, you know, being an 80s baby, but we always talk about like, you know, when are you born? Yeah. Like, oh, you're an 80s baby, but you're really not. You're a 90s baby. You know, like we're 90s babies.
Right.
But realistically, we're actually like the most of the stuff we remember was 2000s as children. Whereas my brother, the 90s, like my brother had the original Charles Barkley's. My brother had the original, like, you know, his favorite pair was the Jordan 11s originals. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like shoes that are worth thousands of dollars now. Yeah. And
talk about investments.
Dude,
shoes.
It's frustrating because like I trashed them shoes.
Oh no,
because they were hand-me-downs. And I'm like, yo, I got my brother's Charles Barkley's. I'm rocking these scrapes and playing ball and stuff. And now,
if only you knew,
bro. I had the Penny Hardaways, right? I forget what they were exactly, but I remember going to Sneaker Villa, if anybody knows, in Reading. Like it was a big sneaker spot, and I had the Penny Hardaways, and they were the New York Knicks like color scheme, right?
Yeah.
I looked at how much the originals are. I bought them back in, like, my brother got them for me back in like the mid 2000s. You're talking like a couple $1,000. And because I got those and I love them. So I told my mom I wanted the Penny Hardaways and the red and white for the Lebanon Cedars.
Yeah.
Because I played basketball. Perfect. What I'm trying to get at is like growing up, we lived pretty well in my early years because my dad had his business established, making, you know, a couple $100,000, like, you know, in revenue. And he was always constantly reinvesting. Yeah. I think the downfall for him was not diversifying. He should have bought some real estate. He should have done this, but and I don't like, I love my dad for this, but he believed in himself. So he would reinvest. Like, I mean, every dollar after our living would go right back into business. So if he made $200,000 in profit, man, we probably lived off like $60,000 or $70,000, you know, which is a lot back then. Yeah. A lot. Oh, yeah. Plus my mom, everything else back into business. You know what I mean? Wow. Buying new equipment, you know, ordering more material, getting more vehicles, all that other stuff. So everything was great. You know, and I'm not going to say I had a horrible life, but when I was a freshman or about 8th grade, you know, my dad fell ill. You know, and no disrespect or any, it's a tough subject for me, but mental illness. And this is why I'm so adamant on being aware of this. My dad's childhood was difficult. You know what I mean? Single mom. He was one of 5 kids, the youngest. The distance between him and his next, you know, sibling was I think a decade.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And people don't realize like that's a big difference. Like just like if we put in perspective, like if you're 7, your sibling's 17.
Yeah.
You're 7 playing with toys. They're out there fucking, drinking, smoking, being a teenager, getting in trouble. Like there's a big difference. And with that, you know, my dad struggled with a lot of mental illnesses, and like he was an alcoholic when we were younger. That was probably the only thing when I was like real young that was tough. I didn't remember it a lot, but my brother got kind of the harsher end of it.
So your brother's older, or
my brother is 7 years older than me.
Okay.
Born in 1985. Shout out to my mom, who's a warrior. She was born she graduated, had my brother, and got married in 1985.
Wow.
And you gotta understand, like, people don't realize like the way times were. Like, you were pregnant in high school, like that wasn't acceptable. That was like others taught, and they talk shit now, but I mean, like, it was definitely, you know,
big
and
difference.
the fact that she had a kid before she was married and all these other things. So like, shout out to my mom for being strong as fuck. At 18 years old, having a child, graduating high school, and getting married. You know, with all that, my dad was an alcoholic for a time period. And we go back to mental illness. Like, there's something that we do in our business, in our that a consultant had approached us about a while back, of like, when you have an issue, it's we always think, well, what's the problem to that issue, right? One thing before that, the one why. But in reality, you have to go back 5 whys. That finds the root, right? And where I'm getting at this is, you know, with mental illness and things like that, you know, we're like, well, why is he like this? You could be going back years, decades of like some type of, you know, a traumatizing time that could be a very short period of time in life. And like I said, my dad had a tough life, you know, like I said, when I explained that. And so he definitely had an issue with alcohol, and don't get me wrong, my mom definitely held her own. Yeah, my dad will tell you that. My mom's no softie.
Right.
But it still was tough for my brother. You know, I don't remember those times. You know what I mean? Like,
you were young.
The only thing I remember is we used to go to my uncles, my godfathers, but I call him my uncle. And I used to think, oh man, we're going to, you know, it'd be like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. Oh, we're going to Uncle Bob's. Awesome. You know, fantastic.
Yeah. Right.
But in reality, now that I'm older, I understand of like what was really going on. Like, my dad was belligerent, and you know, these are things that are tough to talk about, because like, I love my parents, and my parents have shaped me, and they're amazing parents. Amazing. But I'm all about the reality of life. Everybody got skeletons, and I'm going to talk about it because it shaped who I am. And those are experiences like I'm not going to hide. And, you know, if anybody wants to think my dad was a bad guy or my mom should have done something different, that's bullshit. Yeah. Because guess what? I'm pretty successful, and I'm living pretty well.
We're going to get into that.
I'm happy. So, but growing up, let's like get into the next thing of like, early on, great. My parents were well off, worked hard, whatever. My dad hit a wall in his life, and, you know, his mental illness really took a big smack to him, and things really got to a struggle. So like, my high school, and not a lot of people know about this, but we struggled, and I didn't even know it. My mom worked, you know, my dad, the business disappeared like in a week. We had the labor and industry auditing. We had the IRS auditing. Like, it was wild. Like, everything happened like that.
Right.
And I wasn't aware of this until being an adult, but like, you know, my mom had to step up and basically like take control of everything. You know what I mean? Like, my freshman year, I don't remember, like, I really didn't talk to my dad. Yeah. You know? And I would say during my high school years, I didn't even have a real relationship with my pops, like, because of the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that my mom, like, how strong my mom was. She took on, like, she worked at Walmart while cutting hair. And I took it for, like, I took it for granted, like, realizing. But the high school years were rough, and I had some mental, illness. Like, I struggle with anger. I had anger problems, man. Like, I actually...
You seem like a real nice guy from what little I know about you, and pretty cool and calm. So maybe over the years...
I've grown a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was senior year, we're playing Manheim Township. You're a local guy, so I broke their scores table out of... Yeah, I lost.
Their scores table?
Yeah, bro, I lost.
What, you body slam it or?
Nah, so like I slammed it with my fist. So what it came about is like...
You get fouled or something?
They were being a little dirty.
Talking trash?
What I mean? No, I was getting some gut shots, and we all know how sports is, man. Like, if the ref ain't seeing it, it's fair game, and I respect that. But at the same time, I'm gonna be vocal about it. And we were known to... Lebanon's always been known to, because a lot of people look at Lebanon as like the rowdy batch, the rowdy bunch, and so we would get in fights a lot because it was more of us just standing up, to bullshit of like, we aren't that type or whatever. So long story short, I told the ref, and I said some really crazy fucked up shit to the ref. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're out." And I came over to the scores table, and I took both my fists, and right in front of our bookkeeper, I slammed it, and I cracked the tabletop, and I broke their glass.
Like Thor, you're just like,
dude, it was like I was on, and then so from there, then I stormed off, and I went into Manheim Township.
Well, your adrenaline's rushing,
dude. I was, and like my issues, I would like black out. There was no true recollection of like what was going on. I was just like, fuck everybody. Yeah. And that's how I would be, man. And I think it was, again, it goes back 5 whys, and it stemmed from like, I think it was the struggle of like my pops not really being like mentally there when I was in high school. Like, my mom was the foundation in high school where it means the most of like, this is a male, I would say, please don't kill me, like people out there of the whole male, female, whatever. I'm equality, but for a male growing up, having a male figure, however that looks, no matter which way it looks, is very important for development, because we look alike, we have the same body parts, testosterone's like, and I think
it's father figure.
I struggled in that, you know what I mean? And like it's tough to talk about because like my dad takes that some type of way, but the truth is the truth. And yeah, man, I remember going back, right? They sent me back to the locker room, and there was a hallway where the locker room was. And I fucking punched one of the lockers, and I dented it, but my hand was
jacked up,
blood. And one of their security guards, who was like, he looked like Peter Griffin. And he looked at me, and this is his words: "I don't get fucking paid enough for this," and walked the fuck away. And I went in the locker room, and I remember, just like, I think it was my assistant. I think it was Coach Spiro at the time. Maybe it wasn't. But I just remember like, yeah, man, and that wasn't the only time I had that during AAU too, which was like a little bit later in life, like right before my son, and same situation. Like I told the ref, I was like, "I'll cut your fucking throat."
Wow.
I was a piece of shit. When I got pissed, and that again, like I had anger issues, and I was. You said, like, I seemed like, and I was, man. I was a very social type of guy. Yeah. In high school, during lunch, we had 30 minutes. I'd eat the first 10, 20 minutes. I had to hit every table.
You'd be talking to everybody.
I had to make sure I was meeting with the nerdy kids. I was meeting with and again, don't get mad at me for fucking stereotyping or putting these fucking categories, but it is what it is. The jocks, the hood motherfuckers, the cheerleaders, like all that. That was just like my natural, that was just me. But I had a very fucked up, dark, shitty side that was not cool. So, like I said, growing up, high school was a tough one for me, man.
It sounds like your mom was definitely your superhero, right? But now
I'm a mama's boy, bro.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Dude, it's funny. People get like offended by it. I'm a mama's boy, straight up.
Proud of it.
Love my pops.
Yeah.
I got a lot of good traits from him and the hard work and all and stuff. But my mom is was my rock.
While you're at high school here at Lebanon, was there any teachers, coaches, or any mentors that you want to shout out? Just give them credit for helping you along the way.
Oh yeah, man. Shout out to Edward Montijo.
Okay.
Which is insane that you brought that up, because I am just rekindling that relationship, dude. And I'm not a religious guy, but I'm a spiritual. You know what I mean? I'm a big believer in God, and I follow mostly the Christian ways and like the whole teachings of like, you give it to God and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, man, that man was definitely a huge help in my life during high school. And what was crazy is he was my math teacher. Like, he wasn't a coach.
Yeah.
He wasn't beyond like.
I didn't expect that.
No, bro. Yeah. Like, he understood me on a level that a lot of others didn't, and I just connected with it. Like, my son's a daddy's boy, right? And I believe because of the harshness and discipline that I I push on him, I believe as human beings, like, we, like, you have little girls, right? When you're little, little girls that like you, they pick on you, they beat you up and all that stuff. Same concept, because it's just like our natural, we always like flow with the opposition, which is really weird. But he was tough on me, man. Like, he was challenging to me, and just help. And after high school too, like after like later on in the years I had my kid and stuff like that, like he was still a big like part of my life. I used to go have dinner with him and his wife and kids and stuff like that. Played chess, which again I fell off from that for years, and I just emailed saying, hey man, like thanking him for everything in my life. And I just was straight up like, I've gotten to a point where I don't want to bullshit. I don't want to waste time. Like, I'm straightforward. Like, I hit him up like, I need a spiritual leader. Like, I need a mentor in my life that's spiritually like that can guide me in that area. And he was always that type of guy. And so Edward Montijo, huge help in my life. Also Mr. Giovino. Shout out to Mr. Giovino too. I almost punched him in the face.
Okay. Back to that.
That aggression. Because he was the athletic director. So like.
Okay.
He got, he saw me grow up through the sports and stuff like that.
Right.
But, I appreciate him, like I remember pulling me in the office and being like, so it was a senior, like we had some senior like activities or whatnot. And it was dress your best. Right.
Okay.
So me and my boys were like, we're going to dress up as inmates.
Oh, nice. Oh man.
And we walked up to the door and,
that's great.
Mr. Umbenhauer, shout out to you, buddy. Mr. Umbenhauer's a great guy. He was I remember him being my homeroom teacher and stuff like that. And I actually have a relationship professionally now because I work like doing things with the school and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Shout out to him. But he totally was at the door that I entered through the back and was like, he didn't say this, but this is how I felt. Turn the fuck around. You're going home. One, if I went home, my mom would fucking have my ass if she found out. And two, I was like, nah, like, this is a joke. Like, this is I'm having a good time, like, blah, blah, blah. And I went home, changed, and came back, and I fucking was pissed.
Yeah.
I had a fucking chip on my shoulder of, like, fuck all y'all. I was a grade A student. I graduated with 4.044.
Oh, shit. Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I was involved in multiple things, which I thought was the ability to get away and all this other stuff. So I was like, fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
I'm doing great in school. I'm an athlete, blah, 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 all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
Entitlement. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? Like, I was definitely felt, now when I say entitlement, I don't mean like born with it. I meant like I earned that fucking shit.
Yeah. Oh, you had to. Sounds like.
Did great in school.
Yeah.
I fucking was a good athlete. I was involved in the, extracurriculars, volunteered, all that other bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And Mr. G approached me. I was like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, and I remember I almost broke. So I believe it was between the gym and the auditorium because his office was in the gym.
Okay. And
I was coming down the corridor, and at the time before they renovated, it was a glass hallway between. Everybody calls it the 3-ring circus.
Yeah, 3-ring circus. I heard of that.
Yeah. So I was walking there, and I was like, "Yo, get the fuck out of my face!" And I just remember, I don't know if I slammed or punched the door, and I probably almost broke it. Like it was fucked. And then he was like, look, man, just come in my office. like, please.
Yeah.
And I was like, which is crazy because I was usually the type to be like, nah, fuck off, I'm going.
Yeah, but it's probably good you did.
I sat down with him and he brought me in his office, and like it was like the first time that like I got to kind of like let it out of like, like I'm like gave it to him, you know what I mean? And he listened. So shout out Mr. Giovino. And then there's I always had great teachers and stuff like that. Mr. Hipschman, Clint Hipschman, fucking guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Bensing, Mr. Licka, shout out that fucking guidance counselor. And, but coach wise, I'm going to say biggest ones would be George Kreiser, who runs our Lebanon City basketball now.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Oh, he's a great guy. I know George.
Dude,
Yeah.
Georgie, coach. And it's crazy. I still call these guys coach.
Yeah.
When I talk
I do the same thing. Like, for those old school coaches that
it is what so George Kreiser.
It's respect.
Ted Thompson.
Okay.
Again, you want to talk about like going way back of my anger issues. I got in it really hard with him when I was a younger kid. Hardcore. And Teddy, Coach Thompson, one of my greatest coaches. Again, I think what got me respectful of that is like he was old school.
Yeah.
Like we had trash can practices. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. It's like,
no, teach me. Tell me.
All right. Well, we about to go into it. Like anybody that is probably from like the 90s, is trash can practice is like you set up trash cans on either end and you run. And you run and you run. And
I got a bad feeling.
It's there if you're going to throw up.
Wow.
And you basically run until you throw up. And, he came into my life towards the end of his career. And I just really appreciate like his toughness and grittiness and that, like holding us accountable, stuff like that. Coach, now I'm going to probably the two best coaches that I would say that had the biggest impact on me. Like overall, as in like the emotional side of things, Coach Sanders and Coach Bumps. So Bumps was my buddy's dad actually, and then Coach Sanders was our assistant. Like he was the JV coach and the for high school and the assistant coach. Man, my senior year, I almost didn't play.
Oh wow!
For I'm not gonna get into it, but the first two people, Coach Bumps was there watching, and then unfortunately, my senior year, Coach Sanders wasn't involved anymore. Won't get into it. Have no idea, but she called him because you'll learn when my mind's made up. Yeah, there's no going back, man. And I was at a summer, and I was like, Mom, I walked out of a summer league game, and I said, Mom, I'm done. This is not like. I'm not having fun and I'm not enjoying myself. Yeah. And it was just crazy. I had a 17, 18-year-old kid saying that of like, fuck this. Like, and I was pretty good. Like I had the opportunity, like I wanted to play collegiate all that stuff. And she called Coach Sanders, man. And he talked me back into staying with it. And I'll never forget that. Bumps was at the second altercation of when I fucking was gonna kill the fucking ref. So Coach Bumps, Coach Sanders, really appreciate you guys. Shout out to both of yous. Like you are phenomenal, and they're fucking great drinking buddies.
There you go.
They're really into like IPA beer drinking,
perfect
like breweries and stuff. Yeah. But that's probably a good gist of like the people, coaches, teachers that really like
impacted me.
Do I think all of them did? And I had really good relationships with a lot. Yes, I did. Like, cause I know a lot of kids out there that didn't. Yeah. But those definitely helped in guiding this fucking fucked up redheaded child in his life. And achieving of what I've achieved and who I am now.
You get through high school. What is life like after that? Some people go to college.
Do you want me to be like real?
I mean,
I was a drug dealer.
Okay.
I sold, and again, if the FBI is listening and whatnot, whatever, it's over with. It's in the past. But during high school and then like towards the end of high school, and sorry, Mom, I love you, but I think she's heard of this enough. Of like, I smoked weed. It helped with the ADHD. Like honestly, like I had to smoke weed consistently, and I found weed at an early age, and people don't realize this, but like I honestly found weed when I was like a freshman in high school. First time I actually tried weed, I ate it. My boy in high school, dime bag ripped, and he was like sprinkling on his chicken patty at lunch, and I was like, "The fuck is that?" What are you doing? Yeah. And again, this was like at that time, I was really trying to find myself, and I'd already had my friends in sports stuff like that, but like I ran around with a lot of like the hood gangster, whatever you want to call it, whatever, you know, like the kids, because we had a lot of kids that came from New York, so it was like, you know, whatever. Yeah. I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, what is that? He's like, yo, bro, like this fucking dime bag rip, like I'm not trying to lose the weed and I'm not trying to get fucking caught. And I'm, well, can I get some? And he's like looking at me and I'm like, he's like, you ever smoke or you don't? And I was the white kid. I literally was the only white kid out of like 20 kids sitting there, black and Spanish, and, you know, whatever you want to call it, like. And I'm just, and he's looking at me like, you fucking serious right now? Like, you about, and I was like, yeah, man. Like, I want to see what this is all, like, this, I watch movies about it, how high and all that shit. I listen to fucking Tupac and Snoop Dogg. Right. Like, the fuck, man? Like, come on. Ice Cube is one of my favorite rappers of all time. Okay. By the way, side note, but I put it in my mashed potatoes. I know it sounds like a ridiculous story, but yeah, freshman year. Yeah. That was the first time. And then later in that year, I actually I had some friends from Warwick, a buddy of mine who I was super close with through basketball, and we hung out with some older kids, seniors. We were freshmen, and we smoked at the one kid's house for the first time. Bro, I got so damn high, and I just was like, this is amazing. Yeah. You know, everything is like clear to me. I'm calm because I was a pretty off the wall type of kid. Like, I'm the kid who was in class that literally would just stand up in the middle of class. Yeah. And just stand. Because I couldn't sit. Like, it was that bad, you know what I mean? Then came, like, junior years when I really started smoking and realizing, like, damn, like, this really helps me accomplish just normal daily shit at a higher capacity than what I'm capable of or whatever. So, once I got out of high school, man, like, then I realized, you know, and we'll go back to this, but I'm an entrepreneur, and it all started with a fucking at the time was what we called a dub, right? Dub, $20 worth of weed. Okay. And I negotiated it to $15, right? So I got a $5 discount. Yeah. Here we go, all you drug dealers out there, man. Like, don't smoke your shit, and you're actually really good business people. So
I believe that. Yeah.
I skimped it for myself, so I shorted it. And when we talk about that, I took some weed out of it for all of you guys that don't understand, and I smoked that, and I sold it for the $20. Right. Within like 10 minutes of it to my one buddy. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go back. I need more. Like, I got a little bit to smoke. I need to whatever. And you know, I made $5. Like, I made $5. So I went back to him. I was like, yo, can I get another dub for 15? Like, this is like, it was one of my boys. He's like, yeah, I got you, bro. No worries, whatever. Skimped it again, sold it for 20. Yeah. You know what I mean? So now technically I'm only $30 out of pocket. Right. And here we go into investing. Yep. And I made 40. So I made $10 on top of that. Well, at the time, you could get and here we get into the drug deal. I won't get into it, but basically an eighth you were supposed to pay 35 for, which is an eighth of an ounce. For all those that don't know the fucking lingo, drug deal and all that stuff, you're talking 3.5 fucking grams, right? At the time you paid $10 a gram, so 3.5 times 10 is $35. I negotiate. I was like, yo, because I have 40. I was like, yo, let me get an eighth for 20 or 25, whatever it was. And he was like, I got you, because this is all in an hour. This is in 1 hour. Oh wow! So now I bought the eighth. Now I broke it up again. You know, pinched a little bit for me, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna sell each of these for, I'm gonna sell it for the 35. So I got now I have $40 I spent 20 of it. Got 20 sitting. Sold that for then 35. So now I got 35 plus the 20. Like, I got $55. Well, then, half an ounce. I was like this is all within 6 hours, I think is what it came to. I got up to an ounce of just wheeling and dealing and like going back. Because again, like I smoke, like when you're in that realm, like everybody, and you're a social person, you're just like boom, boom, boom. Got up to an ounce. Well, then, in that one day I got up to an ounce, and like my boy is like, yo, what the fuck? Like, and he's like, yeah, I can't hook you up anymore. Like, that's not my game. So he connected me with like his source or his plug, as we called it, his connect. And, that's when I was like, all right, yeah, I'll buy an ounce. Then it got to what they call as a QP, which is a quarter pound. And then it got to a half pound, then it got to a pound. And it was just like, this is really like easy. And you got to think like 10 years ago, man, like this is not, you could like, especially in PA, you could go away for a really long time for,
you're moving some stuff,
distribution and all that stuff. So then I got into that, and then at that time is when like the good weed started coming about, right? And my cousin's cousin had a couple farms in California, and he actually came over because my cousin told him about it. I was like, yo, my cousin's moving some good weight.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, my person out there is fucking up. Like, what's up? So he literally flew over. He had a fucking like Rolls Royce or I forget what it was. Dude, this guy, like, it sounds like my life sometimes sounds like out of a fucking
I was gonna say, is that out of a movie?
Dude, it was cool. Like, it was my cousin's cousin, and I met him, and he was just like, I'll put you on. So then all of a sudden, like, dude, I was getting shit in the mail. Again, FBI, like, it's too late. Like, fuck y'all. Like, it is what it is. But I would get shit in the mail delivered to my house. It's like 4 pounds of, like, at that time, we got to remember, like, all weed's good now. Back then, like 10 years ago, like, you had like Kush and fucking AK-47 and all these, like, those were the good shit. And then you had shit ass weed because that's just the way shit was. Like, booty ass fucking seeds and stems and shit. And then, so like, to me, this was like a new game. Yeah, he'd send me a box, and there'd come, like, you know, the flute. He'd like send it, and there'd be flute glasses in it, like, you know, for champagne bottles.
Yeah.
I got wallets. I got whatever. So his whole strategy, like, I don't know. He had someone in FedEx that he paid. They would come to my door, and I'd answer, and they would ask me, like, "Are you so and so?" And I'd be like, "Nope." And they'd be like, because they, you know, FedEx, you had to sign for delivery for certain deliveries.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "No," and they would be like, "Okay," and then they would walk away, like, you know, because normally, like, if you're not the person, then you don't sign, you don't get the package. They would leave the package, and that's how it worked. I was a pretty avid, and again, sorry, mama, but, you know, and I did this all under the radar.
Yeah.
And so from 18 to 20, that was like my lifestyle, and it was pretty.
Yeah.
I was a very, like, live by the edge of my balls and make money, and I didn't give a fuck about anyone else, dude. I was very self-centered, like, at 18 to 20.
You're definitely walking the line, you know, at that time,
dude.
And I would agree, from what little I know. I think drug dealers. This is my take. Drug dealers.
That word's so harsh.
Dealers in general,
like,
right?
Look at Pineapple Express, bro. Like, come on, man.
But dealers, I think, are some of them are some of the best business people out there. They're just not working in
the mob.
a legal arena. They're, you know, it's all.
Look at the mob, bro.
Well, yeah, right.
They run the everything. Casino industry.
Yeah.
Off of dirty money.
They're into so much. Yeah.
It's just you know, the dirty is a lot easier to fucking not easier, but you can do whatever the fuck you want type of deal. So
right.
But yeah, man. And then I had my son at 20 years old, and that was the first moment that I felt I had purpose in my life. Seriously, I didn't care about anybody. Like, I was a big mama's boy. I loved, you know, I mean, that, don't get me wrong, but I disrespected my mom by having weed delivered to her house, bro. Like, I disrespected, and I didn't realize it at the time, but, like, when you think about it, so and this is another crazy story, like, I met my son's mom in November 2011. She was pregnant February 2012. We were only dating for 2 months. We got together in January. January, you know, blah, blah, blah. Not ideal. We're not together anymore, but I'm going to tell you the greatest blessing of my life. Like, it gave me purpose, and I shifted, like, that moment that I found out that she was pregnant, I dropped told my cousin, and, you know, was like, yo, I'm done. Like, this is not, this isn't sustainable. This is, like, even though it's going good now, there's always that opportunity. You know what I mean? So I shifted gears of, like, taking that effort, because, you know, I made a lot of money. I spent it on bullshit. Like, I have nothing to show in that moment of my life, anything. But I shifted gears, and that's when I started really, like, focusing. You know what I mean? Went to Thaddeus Stevens. By the way, I had a full scholarship to LVC. Business. I double majored in business and accounting, and dropped out the first semester, didn't even finish it, and they fought for me to finish. Like, I had meetings with the president. Well, it was different levels. Like, I had a meeting with my advisor, then I had a meeting with my advisor and my one of my professors in the business realm. Then he had a meeting with me and the board of the business department, and then it was my psychologist it was Dr. Foster, again, shout out, she was great at LVC, and just all these meetings to the point where it was like the VP of like, you know, the vice president of Lebanon Valley College and stuff, trying to say like, what are you doing? Which now that I'm older, I really appreciate. Again, when I'm done, I'm done. So, you know, I'm a dropout, college dropout. So I went to Thaddeus Stevens. I got mono, dropped out of that because my whole idea was I'm going to be an electrician. I want to be in a trade. I should have been in a trade. Like the one person that always like really like pushed of like, and my mom was big on college. Not saying that she wasn't about what I want, but like we were definitely like, my brother was an accountant. He went to Bloomsburg. He's a genius. He's like Rain Man. You know, okay. Me, I'm like, I just get shit done. And so, you know, we were, and in the time period, you know how it is, bro. Like college was like, that was it.
Yeah. Everybody pushes college. Everybody, counselors, family, you know, and they do it because they love you. And I think they want the best for you. And they're like, you know what, maybe like your mom or dad didn't go to college, but then it's like,
and they didn't.
Yeah.
Beautician and drywall. They both went to Votech.
Okay, there you go. Right.
And so she was so adamant that the only way to be successful was to go to college and get a professional position. And when we say professional, you know, the white collar. But, you know, my papa, who's my mom's stepdad, which she called dad, was always saying like, damn, Noah should be in a trade. Like Noah had, like, because I couldn't sit. Class was tough for me. You know, I killed it on. It's crazy. I don't even know how I killed it, to be honest, because I sucked at tests.
I was going to say, your grades were killer from what you said.
I fucking, 4.044. Like, I still have that. My mom probably still has the fucking.
Yeah. I hope she does, man.
She has
awesome.
Archives, bro.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I went to Thaddeus Stevens, and my whole behind that, I went to that before meeting my kid's mom, was that I need to eventually, like, shift into gears to something that's going to, like, be more than illegal shit. And, because I didn't know what I was working. I dropped out of LVC, and I had to like do something else. And like during while I was at LVC, shout out to my roommate Tito Valdez, Roberto Valdez, who is now an attorney. He works for like the city of Philadelphia. Like nights of like talking to him of like, what's my next step? This is when I was at LVC. And I sold mad shit at LVC, by the way. Yo, shout out to LVC fucking alumni, because you all made me a lot of money. But we would talk of like, you know, what did I want? And it came to the conclusion, like, I want to be an electrician. Like, I used to fuck with electronics and stuff.
Right.
And again, got a full ride. Thaddeus Stevens, if anybody knows, is Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology. They are a trade school, and they're like number 2 in the fucking country or some shit like that. They're really like well known, and their job placements like 97%, all this other great stuff. And I'm like, okay, they had a 1-year program for electrical construction, which you get a certificate, and you know, and that is more for like the construction aspect if you're going to go into construction. And then they had the 2-year program, which was more of like electrical technology, which you could either because you get associates, continue on to become an electrical technologist or whatever they called it, which is like one step below an engineer, or go into engineering.
Okay.
Or step into the job field and become like maintenance tech. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was just a more opportunity. And my thought was like, well, I'll do the 1 year and then I'll do the 2 year, because the 1 year fed a lot. Like it would set you up for the 2 year. And still was partier, and I caught mono, which crazy enough, I had mono when I was in 8th grade. Fucked me up. And you only have a 1% chance of ever having it again. So the way mono works is it's a virus, and it don't actually ever go away. It goes dormant. Basically, like, I got it. I didn't get it again. Like, you don't get it again. It's actually the same virus, except it just re-flared up.
Jeez.
So, dude, it fucked me up.
Yeah.
And I just remember because, all right, so 1 year out of high school, and I remember I wasn't feeling, like, I went to college and I wasn't feeling good, blah. I felt like it was like sickness, whatever, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, fucked up, bro. Like, I remember moving in and I was like dying. So then I got better, you know, and I'm fucking partying. Every weekend I'm going home, because Thaddeus Stevens is a dry college. Like, it's almost kind of like military school. Like, they check your room, inspect it.
Well, they have housing there?
They do.
And dorms and stuff? I didn't know that.
Dude, and it's like harsh. Because you got like, you want to talk about the melting pot.
Yeah.
I remember studying with my boy he was from like West PA, straight up farmer. Wasn't the most intelligent, like straight up like book smarts, dumb as a fucking rock. And he knew it.
Yeah.
But electrician, hell of an electrician, already had experience. And then there was my boy Easy E from like North Philly. Like, I want to talk about one of the scariest moments of my life going to North Philly and like being Caucasian and like,
you don't do that.
Easy E, my guy. I hope all is well. I haven't talked to him for a few years. That was my guy. But I remember being in our dorm, like studying. Yeah. You're talking about like the hood to like fucking chucking hay bales, all just chilling, smoking a little weed, all that other stuff. So Thaddeus Stevens definitely an interesting melting pot. But we had housing, and you know, your room got inspected every week, and there were some disciplinary things that like I appreciate now as an adult. But regardless, on the weekends, because it is dry, a lot of people would go to Millersville. I mean, we were the fucking rough bunch. Like, pretty sure, shit, you know, to the motherfuckers that went to Millersville, I apologize if I punch you in the face. Like, you know, because like, dude, we go there, we had a stigma. I feel like I fit at home because that's how Lebanon always was growing up.
Oh yeah,
so,
you
like,
fit right in. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we went to Millersville, and it's like, damn, fucking Daddy Stevens kids showed up. Right. Fuck. But and then I would go home and I'd party. So leading up to that, I remember going to the Lebanon Cedars homecoming with this one girl, and yeah, man, I was out super late. I walked home from her. We stayed at our sister's house with a group of friends, by the way.
Yeah.
And I walked home, and dude, I had shorts and a t-shirt, and it was like fucking 30 degrees out. And the next day, I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I literally
just hit you, dude.
I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I didn't get up for the bathroom. Like, I had to fucking piss in like a fucking bottle. Because mono, if people know, man, you think COVID's bad? Fuck no. I was wrecked for weeks, and because of that, I had to drop out of college at Thaddeus Stevens because it's a 1-year program. It wasn't like I could just get back into the credits and whatnot. That happened, had to drop out, went back to work, applied, got back in it again. Well, I met my kid's mom, my son's mom, and then she got pregnant. So like, that really changed the perspective of everything, man. So fast forward, you know, it's now the following year. She's like fucking uber pregnant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am working full-time third shift, 40 hours a week, and going to school 40 hours during the day. I slept 3 hours every 24 hours.
Wow. You're burning the candle at both ends.
Dude, it was definitely, but I was like, I'm determined. Like, I need to do something for this kid. So yeah, that was like right out of, like, you got, like, I look back at it as like my buddy's kid. Like, I have some of my employees have kids that are like in their, 18, 19, 20. And like, I look back and like, don't get me wrong, I was a fuck, but I had my son at 20, man. You know what I mean? Like, it was a life-changing experience, and like, I really, from that point on, man, I just was like, it's a ground and pound fucking mentality, bro.
Yeah. What would you say you're really passionate about? Like, what motivates you, what drives you? And then we'll get into, your career and things like that. But
so I love my son.
Yeah.
Love my son, man. Like, he's a daddy's boy. He's a golden child in my, like, you know what I mean? Like, I fucking love him. He definitely, like I told you, he was a life-changing moment. And, I'm not with his mom, and we co-parent phenomenal.
That's awesome.
I mean, she has her fiance, and I'm actually back with my high school sweetheart.
What?
Yeah, dude. Okay. It's a whole nother story. So we go back to high school, dated her. She was younger than me, and I was piece of shit. Not like abusive or anything like that.
Okay,
you know what I mean? I just want, like,
for the listeners out there.
For all them listeners, like, no, like, I loved her. I always loved her, and I will. It's a little touchy subject, but like with my son's mom, but I always was in love. Always. Just, I remember she texted me, like, I forget. This was like right around, like, I was in LVC before I left, right, and or I just left, and I just remember the text saying "done" or "I'm done," and I was like, the fuck is this? That was it, bro. Didn't talk to her for 7 years from that point, right? So you're talking like 2011 till 5 years ago, 2017-ish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, shout out to my woman, my honey buns, my life, my love, that she gave me a second opportunity, and I will not fuck that up. But passionate, my son, my woman, and, that's something that I brought today is a picture of of me, my son, and my woman. You know, because she's a strong woman. Like the fact that she's a stepmother. You know what I mean? Like I never had to be a stepdad. I don't know how that is, man. I would say fucking real estate and hustling.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the second thing I brought is my construction manager. It says every day I'm hustling.
Yeah.
Because like it's always been in my blood. It was in my parents' blood. Like, and you can ask my woman. Like it never stops. And then the real estate ties into that. Of just I always wanted to be involved. Like I almost became an engineer. Like side note, I worked for Hershey Park. I actually helped. I was an electrician. I wired up the drop towers. And I maintenance like Sky Rush and all that stuff. So you're talking a dude who's fucking scared of heights climbing.
Scared of heights? I hate roller coasters and
dude. I love. I enjoy roller coasters now, but before that,
Can't do that.
you know do you know Killian Klopp?
Yeah.
Remember Killian? Yeah, that's my cousin.
Oh,
so growing up, like him and his parents used to take me to Hershey Park, right? Yeah. They have a picture of me bawling my fucking eyes out on the Ferris wheel. So I sent them because the one year the Ferris wheel was one of my projects that I had to, during the winter, we revamped. I have a picture of me in the center of it, just sitting unstrapped, saying with the middle finger, like, look at me, look at me. Yeah. I'm on this bitch. What? And I remember my cousin was, his mom was like, oh my God, like came a long fucking way.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, man, just overall, you know, I'm a hustler, and it's in my blood, and my girl gets, you know, like it struggles sometimes, you know what I mean? But that's my passion. We're out and about, and I look at it, I see something like, well, if you do this, you could do this. You know what I mean? You can make this much money. And it's not about the money. I think it's the thrill and like and helping other people, man, and all the other shit. But
it's huge.
My family and fucking hustling is my passion, man.
Now to get into the business, how did Ask4Noah and Starr War with two R's in the Starr Properties start, and who came up with the name?
So we'll go back 2017, January 2017. I bought my first property for $1.
$1. How did you pull that off?
$1.
Okay, so we'll just let it at that, or
the real short story is a good friend of mine, Andrew Ziddick, shout out, who was a phenomenal buddy of mine, was a city inspector at the time, and you know, it was a condemned property, and they were just in a situation, like the actual owner was 90 some years old. The kids were in their 60s, and the property was fucked, dude. The guy next door was shitting in the fucking roof.
No way. You can't.
There was 1,000 tampons, and I have pictures. If you guys check out like my personal, you know, like Ask4Noah, or even follow me on Facebook and stuff, you'll see it. It's the Dollar House, 214 South 5th Street, Lebanon, PA 17042. And I just like straight up had no money. I'm working at Hershey Park dude, I'm 25 years old making $30 some, which again, at that time, like just 5 years ago, like that was like fucking really great money.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It should change a little bit now with inflation and job market. But so I approached him and just straight up was like, look, my value to you is that I can take it off your hands. I don't have any money, but the bleeding for you guys will stop. I told him $1, and they were all about it. So 2017 did that. I started my first, and then from there I wasn't sure if I was going to sell it or whatever, but I fixed it up myself. Probably Alex Lazan, shout out, big help. He actually worked for our company for a little bit, but at that time he was doing a lot of side work, and I hired him to help me do some framing and stuff like that. But I probably did like 70% of the work myself. As an electrician too, I wired it, and we put all new electric. I hired Earl Gill, who's Gill's Plumbing. If you're local, is a great plumber. Shout out to him. I love giving shout outs to my guys.
Go for it.
He did the plumbing on that project. New roof. My dad and his best friend helped with the drywall. Like, me and my brother and my dad built the addition for the laundry room. Like it was 18 months, a year and a half of fucking struggle though. Me and my son's mom separate, all this other stuff. But that property helped me establish getting into the flip game.
Okay.
So we fast forward 2018. I got that property rented, refinanced it. So we talk about this in my industry as the BRRRR strategy: buy, rehab, rent, refi, repeat.
Okay.
Right. So I bought it, I rehabbed it, I rented it. The value now is like, triple, double, whatever it is. Refied it, pulled pulled the equity plus got paid back. So now I got like extra money, and now I'm going like I wanted to do a flip. I'm on to the next thing. So with that, I did that strategy, took the money, and my mentor, who's a really good friend of mine, like family, call him Uncle Jay, Jamari Davis, loan officer. I was reaching out to people like, yo, like I'm trying to like, who's out there in the flip game? Like who flips houses? Like give me an opportunity. He grew up with my brother. I grew up with his brother, like, and I was close to his brother, and he was close to my brother, and he was like, yo, little Starry. We didn't really know each other like that, but he was like, hey, look, I got this property in Harrisburg, right? And I'm maxed out. It's in my name. I'm about to close on it, but you handle it, right? That was my first opportunity. And, from there, at that time, my LLC was called Starr Property Solutions.
Okay.
Right? So that was me by myself. I was joint venturing with him. That first one, he didn't get nothing out of it. He was just giving me opportunity. But from there, then I kept partnering with him. And when I say partner, I mean joint venture, meaning like he didn't have no ownership in my company, and I had no ownership in his, but we worked together and then had an agreement. From there, then is where Ask4Noah was built, was something developed. Again, I was talking to you earlier. I didn't want to be a face of a company. I really didn't, man. I just wanted to hustle and make money and fucking and stuff.
Live your life,
And my brother, best friend, like Skylar Garman, he had this marketing guy that was like helping him out, and we were just there bullshit. And I was like talking like, oh man, I need like some more like, and he was like, he kept saying Noah Starry, like literally, like it was like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like, he just was like saying it, and then like, he's like, Ask4Noah, and he just like he did the whole like gun pointing at me of like Ask4Noah. And that was it. He was like, there you go, and then fucking left because my buddy owned a supplement shop, and he just left the supplement shop. I'm like, fucking genius. Ask4Noah, like fuck.
Yeah, simple but yet straight to the point. What do you
He
do?
literally he later said, oh well, when you explain to me what you did about solving, because one of our slogans is we're problem solvers first, investors second. That's been around. Like I was with that from the very beginning. And I said that to him, and he was like, "Ask for Jeeves."
Yeah.
Remember Ask for Jeeves before Google?
Yeah.
That's how he came up with Ask4Noah.
Oh wow.
He told me that later on, but so Ask4Noah was born.
Yeah.
I just fucking ran with it because, like I told you earlier, of Gary Vee, of like, I didn't want to be the front. I didn't want to be that, but guess what? Like, people could connect with me. I'm local, connect, understand all these other things. And I'm like, fuck it. Right. So the Ask4Noah came about, and I just ran with it. And I told you, like, I had that 10,000 views on that one live video. Like we had consistently 2,500 views on a bunch of videos and stuff like that. So I'm still doing deals and stuff like that. And then my Michael Orta, who's my realtor. So Michael Orta, Remax Cornerstone. If you're interested in real estate in the Lebanon County, Central PA area, that's the go-to guy. We both started basically at the same time. You know what I mean? So a good friend of mine was actually a rival back in like when I was younger. We used to play ball at the Y. And we actually almost fought. So it's crazy. Like one of my two best friends, Skylar Garman and Michael Orta, like, and who are now like associated with me professionally, both almost fought. Straight up, 100%. I think that's why we're so close. So anyways, Michael Orta is the go-to guy for real estate in this area. And we both started together. And we were, when we first rekindled our relationship, which was kind of funny because we were fucking wanted to kill each other. He was like, hey, I got this guy that you should meet, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, what's up? Like who? He's like David Warner Jr. And I looked at him, I'm like, whoa, hold up. And I pulled up my phone, and I pulled up a phone number with a name, and I said, is this his phone number? And he looked at it, he's like, how the fuck do you have that number? I was like, fuck that guy.
Oh,
fuck
what?
That guy. Chip on my shoulder.
Okay.
So another associate of mine, family friend, had referred me to him to do an LLC, right?
Yeah.
Starr Property Solutions.
Okay. Yeah.
It's funny how the world circled, right?
I was going to say, right.
And I got dubbed. He don't remember any of this, but I texted him personally and I called his office. And it's funny because I've only told him about this like a couple, like probably 6 months to a year ago.
Yeah.
We've been partners now since 2019.
Okay.
So he just laughed it off. He's like, I don't remember. And I'm like, but at that time I was like, fuck that guy. And Michael's like, no, bro, no. Like, this guy is an avid investor. He partners. He does real estate. He's an attorney. Like, this is the guy that you should like meet. And I'm like, fine. So we meet at La Placita, authentic Mexican restaurant in Lebanon. Fucking awesome tacos. So none of that Taco Bell shit. Right. So we met there, and I'm sitting in front of him, and I'm just spitting my dreams and aspirations and all this shit I'm gonna do, and I'm getting the same look I get from everybody because like I'm a big open of like I'm gonna do this. Like this is not to my horn, but you'll literally talk to some people that have like been around for the game.
Yeah.
For like have seen me develop, and they'll literally like say like, damn, you said that, you said you were going to do that, you know what I mean? So I was saying this to him, and he sat quietly. If anybody like would know David, he'll just sit there, you know what I mean, and listen, you know what I mean, take in, and you kind of feel like he's not even listening, and he just he's on his phone and stuff, and he looks at me, he goes, go buy a property. I was like, fucking bet, like let's go. So I bought a 3-unit with him, and that's where Starr War Properties came about. Of like, we needed to because he wanted to partner with me, not joint venture. So that's where Starr, Starr for Starry, and Warner, came about. You combine it, Starr War, and we're nerds. And he literally called me like 3 days, like, as I got the deal done, I'm like, yo, we need an LLC, like, get this, do your attorney bullshit and get this done. Like,
yeah.
I don't want legal Zoom taking 6 months. And he called me. I remember he was driving. He's like, I got the best name, Starr War Properties. I was like, done deal.
Oh, it's an awesome name.
So that's how Starr War Properties came about. And from that point, we kept doing some things. And then 2020, right when COVID hit, I had a revelation of like, again, spiritually, like I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going. I was like, why don't I focus all my time and effort into one company and grow this thing massive? And I just so happened 2 hours later get a call from David saying, what the fuck are we doing? Are we fucking? Is this an open relationship? Are we married? Or like, what's going on? Yeah. And he gave it like, we should really like pull this together. So early 2020, all of 2020 was just basically like trying to wrap up because I had other investments that I was trying to tie out, and so did he and all our stuff. And in 2021, so if you think about it, like last year was our first full year of Starr War Properties.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, now we have like 7 employees, and we've like I have the numbers. I think we did I've done 10 million in volume with Starr War Properties in the past few years of like buy and sell, 105 transactions. We have 50 some units and all that stuff. So there's the gist of how Starr War has came about, and Ask4Noah of the marketing tactic of it.
Wow. No, what a story. That's fantastic. Yeah. Like you said, when you came in, we got the proper 12 out of the Stormtrooper decanter.
Dude, I know.
And you right away, and then you saw the Kylo Ren lightsaber.
Love it.
And we just kind of collect ourselves, which is crazy. So you got all this stuff going on. What's a day-to-day like? Like just a real quick.
Yeah, dude. So again, with my, I struggle hardcore with bipolar and depression and ADHD. So it's really hard for me to stay stuck to one type of what's the schedule or not, but recently I have come to focus a lot more and realize like it's time, like I'm 30, we're not getting younger,
right?
And
can't go back.
I believe 30s are the real time to really start making moves. What I mean? You got the 20s of where you're still finding yourself struggling and making some mistakes and stuff. Like, not saying I'm not going to make any more mistakes, but like making mistakes and learning all that, where now like I have all that knowledge, experience, and resources that I built. Like I just said, we did all that business wise and stuff. So for me, I realized like it is time to get serious. And so like currently right now I wake up on an average day during a week is like I wake up about 5:00 and go to the gym. And this is only recent. Like, I've done this multiple times in my life, but now I'm being more intentional, right? So I wake up at 5 because I've learned that I can't go to the gym any other time. I tried doing it in the evening and it doesn't work. I don't have the time, the energy, whatever. I don't even want to fucking do it, I enjoy it in the morning. I really do. Like, I'm not a morning person, and everybody knows that, everybody knows me closely. Is like, I wake up. I used to only wake up at like 10 o'clock. And this is like probably like over a year, like only a year ago.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then what I did is I intentionally started to say, well, I'm going to wake up at 9. Did that for a couple months. Now I'm going to wake up at 8. Then I'm going to wake up at 7.
Okay.
You know? Because one thing my girl points out is like when I am like, I'm going to change and I'm jump into it. And it's not sustainable, bro.
Right.
To go from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning is a fuckery.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
That's a big change.
I have consistently tried to get to that. And now here I get up at 5 and it's a struggle. You know what I mean? Again, back to what we said, discipline.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock, get up, get ready, you know, brush your teeth, take a piss, get dressed, have all my stuff ready, do pre-workout, all that other stuff, get my gym bag, head to the gym, 5:30, get back to the house around 6:45, put breakfast together from like 6:45-ish, 7 o'clock-ish till I would say about 7:30, go upstairs, take a shower, blah, blah, blah. I want to get to the office no later by like 8. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get there by 8. And then my work day is probably like 8 to 5.
Okay.
You know what I mean, because I need those hours, man. Like it sucks.
Yeah.
And I've definitely skimped out. And like, don't get me wrong, like, I work hard as fuck, but I've learned that like right now in the stage of my life and where my business is, that those 9-10 hours have to get done, man.
Yeah.
I need to be the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta swim the swamp. I can't be worrying about fighting alligators, man. Like I gotta be focused. I need to get us to that next level because if I want to be a true millionaire, I mean, like where I'm making X amount of dollars per year. Because there's people misunderstand the whole idea behind a millionaire is like right now we hold over $4 million in asset. That doesn't make me a millionaire. If you have X amount of equity and net worth and you're generating X amount of income per year there. So I have some aspirations that I want to get to it. And the only way to get to that is like doing the shit that nobody else wants to do. So 8 to 5, dip out. Like my goal is to dip out 5. And lately I've been trying so hard to turn my phone off at 7 at night.
Well, that's tough to do.
Oh my God, bro.
Especially
like,
being a business owner. Yeah.
And even just like my fucking ADHD, we'd be watching a movie and I'm scrolling through my phone because there's a slow part. Like Star Wars, man, there's a fucking love scene. And I'm just like, man, boring as fuck. What the fuck's going on? Or like I got to look up like, damn, like who's that actor? I got to look that up. So, that right there is probably like is only recently, I would say in a couple weeks, man, of like my life.
Yeah.
But like I've done it so many times now. I'm being way more intentional about it of like that schedule during my lifespan has always been most productive and being able to balance and then adding some of that like I gotta cut off the phone, man. I catch myself on TikTok for 7 hours, man.
Oh, TikTok, don't get me started on that. Dude,
I love TikTok, man, but like it is literally just a trap. It's straight
a time sucker.
Up.
Yeah.
So, like trying to clear that. So that's my day, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's awesome. And I would agree because I know when I was at Kutztown, this is back in 2011, 2012, I got in the best shape of my life. I was on the track team, which had helped. But part of it was, like you said, getting up early. I would get up early in the morning, get the workout done. And I look at that now, which I need to get back into, as like that's the hardest part of your day. Like when you're, benching 225 or whatever you're doing, you're running for like 2-3 miles. Like think about it. Everything after that moment is pretty much going to be easy because you've been doing it, for however many years.
Adrenaline's pumping.
Yeah, adrenaline's pumping. Right. Things
are, you're flowing.
Yeah.
Momentum.
Correct.
Momentum. That's a good word. Momentum.
Exactly. Momentum. So get the sweat done in the morning and then the rest of the day
your
just
mind's
breeze.
Cleared, all that other stuff.
Oh yeah, you're focused, you're awake. So now, last couple questions here. Why do you personally do what you do day in and day out?
So for me personally, the reason I do things, man, is like deep down, like I really do love helping people, man. Like, our company is like I told you before, solution based, like we don't buy every deal. We don't buy every house. Like, you know what I mean? My goal is to like provide the resources for that person because in our industry where like what I do is I am working with a lot of clients that are like in a situation, they are in despair in some way when, because we always say like, either the property is, I don't want to say despair. It's
worn down, worn down,
or the person, because
makes sense.
You know what I mean? Or both, they're looking for help. I've learned that sales, when growing up, man, you had the vacuum guy show up to your house. Mom was like, I'm gonna fucking shoot this motherfucker. Get this guy out of here.
Get him off the
I'm
porch.
I'm gonna buy this bitch because he's fucking so pressuring and persuasive. All that. Well, what I've learned in the past recent years is like sales is now service.
I would agree.
Service industry. So like for me, service, man. Like I love the feeling of it, man. Like, and again, it could be selfish too when you think about it. Like that's enjoyment of like, damn, like I helped this person out, man. You know what I mean? Like I helped them get out of a bad situation, or on the other end of like, I'm selling this dope ass house to a first time home buyer, or I'm providing a rental that like is quality and safe and efficient. Because I remember like being a tenant and stuff like that. Like having that is like, it feels good being that tenant of like, damn, like this property's pretty dope. And like my landlord's like chill and takes care of stuff. So doing that like in all aspects of our like services that we give of like helping people, whether it's they're trying to sell their house, maybe it doesn't fit. Maybe I'm not a fit for them. And I'll tell them, I'm like, look, I got this dope ass realtor. I think he's going to be a better fit for you. A lot of other guys, like they got like a lot of people out there want to just capitalize. And don't get me wrong, like to me, I am capitalizing. I'm capitalizing on building my reputation.
Oh yeah, it's
my
big.
Trust, all those other things, man. So yeah, it's service, man. Being service to people. Shout out, great book, The Serving Leader, Alex Kuhn, who is like Adam Kuhn's little brother.
Okay, yeah.
Childhood, good friend and family friend, like family, man. He recommended that book, man, and it talks about being a serving leader, because we always think that leaders are at the top, and this book talks about the leader being at the bottom and serving up. And like, yeah, man, serving is just like, it feels great in my own way. I'm not a big volunteer. I'm not gonna lie. Like I coach and stuff, but beyond that, like I suck at volunteering. Yeah,
so now how can our listeners out there connect with you, follow along on your journey? Maybe they have a property they want to sell. How can they get in touch with you?
So we have multiple avenues, man. You can give us a call at 717-833-4643, extension 1. If you're looking to sell your house, extension 2. If you're looking for a rental inquiry, you can also check us out at Ask4Noah.com with a 4. It's ASK, 4 as in the number, NOAH.com. If you're interested in selling your home, you can reach out through there. Also, if you're interested in a rental, Starr War Properties.com, STARRWAR Properties.com for all our rental inquiries. You can follow us on Facebook at Ask4Noah, and also our IG handle at Ask4Noah. And, you can reach out to us through social media. So if you want to follow our journey, because we do some really dope-ass renovations and shit like that, or you are looking for our services, you can contact us through phone, text, website, social media.
Perfect. So before we close out, is there anything else you'd like the listeners to know?
I'm a big firm believer of, hustling, putting into work, and, providing value. I got a lot of DMs and stuff constantly reaching out to me of like, how do I do this? How do I do that? I want to start in this industry. My advice to you is when you approach those who, and again, I'm saying this from experience, not being an asshole or dickhead or whatever, or arrogant or not, but approach people that are in it with value, saying, hey, I want to get into your industry. I can do this for you. Yeah. Or, hey, I can offer up this service to you, or stuff like that, and providing value. Cause like my time as I'm getting more busy and grow and successful is valuable. Like I'm learning, like, you know what I mean? Like that means a lot. And it, a lot of people say it's priceless. So as much as I want to be a service, like bring value, you know what I mean? It makes it more intriguing and like you stand out. So all I'm saying is like, if you want to get into something, investing, podcasts, marketing, contracting, any of that, and you're looking for a mentor that you're not going to pay or anything like that, provide them value.
I couldn't agree more. So Noah Starry from Ask4Noah and Starr War Properties on the American Grown podcast in the Colortech Creative Solutions studios. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Dude, you killed it, brother.
That was awesome.
If you want to see more American Grown content, follow along on Facebook and Instagram. Username American Grown Podcast. If you received any value, please share this episode with friends, family, and coworkers. And lastly, subscribe and leave a review.
If you'd like to be a featured guest on the podcast, please direct message or email Austin at AmericanGrownPod@gmail.com.